And here we are for race number 27 of 29 here in the 1989 Throwbacks. Only 3 races left in the year, and Tim Richmond has a pretty big lead, 173 points over Bill Elliott. It's pretty much safe to say that he's got this championship in the bag. It'll be his second championship in 3 years. It'll take a monumental screw up to mess that up, but there are positions up for grabs all over the place. Just take a look. 4th on back, it's just a mess. It's a bloodbath for positions. We take a look back here. Even when we go down here, there's a big cut between Neil Bonnet and Bobby Hillin, but from Bobby Hillin on down, it's still a pretty close battle. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on here in the final few races of the year. Our first stop of the final few races of the year will be at Rockingham. So let's get this underway. And I just realized that a bunch of frames were dropped early on. If this is going on, I'm going to be very annoyed. So I really don't want to restart this. Alright, so for qualifying, Brett Bodine is on pole. How about that? Well, we've had some interesting qualifying positions this year. I gotta say that right now. We've had a lot of interesting qualifying lineups this year. Most years it's usually 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 drivers dominating the pole position. We've had so many different drivers on pole, so it's actually really cool to see this. So Brett Bodine is on pole. In second place we have Ken Schrader. Third will be Ricky Rudd. In 4th, Darrell Waltrip. In 5th we have Rusty Wallace. 6th off the line will be Bill Elliott. In 7th we'll have Tim Richmond. In 8th, Terry Labonte. 9th will be Mark Martin. And Dale Earnhardt will round out the top 10. Something that should be noted, actually, that I forgot to go over. Tim Richmond has the opportunity to break the record for the most top 5s ever recorded in the Throwback season. This is a record that was actually done last year, where both Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond tied for the most amount of top 5s in one season of Throwbacks with 20. Tim Richmond is currently at 19. I just realized I talked over the command. Oh boy. Yeah, I just talked over the command. That's not good. Anyways, we are... I don't like doing that. I'm really sorry, but of course this is being recorded live, and sometimes that kind of mistake happens. But anyways, they're coming off of turn 4, and the green flag is out here at Rockingham. Wow. Okay. So we can see that's a good shot of Eddie Bierschwell. So I'm going to try to get through the pack here. So they come down the back straightaway. Enter into turn 3. You can see everyone flying by. And Brett Bodine's going to come off of turn 4. They're going to leave lap number 1 3 wide for the 4th position. What a move by Tim Richmond. Tim Richmond continues to race every single race like a champion. That's one thing that Tim Richmond has been doing so well, is that even though he's got this big points lead, even when it's been a tiny points lead, but no matter what the points lead he's had, he's gone out there and he's raced like the champion. No doubt about that. Tim Richmond's been doing a fantastic job week in, week out. Meanwhile, Elliott has struggled in the closing races of this year. Elliott has really struggled, and I believe the caution is out. Indeed it is. And in fact, the 35 is actually going to come out and take the lead here coming off of turn 4. And a rare early race caution here has come out. It looks like Ben Hess is the victim here. So we'll try to figure out exactly what happened. Gonna have Ben Hess here. He's gonna come off of turn 4. I'm gonna guess he gets... Oh wow, Derek Cope got really loose, and then the 40 gets hit in the back end by the 48. You see that Derek Cope got wicked loose coming off of turn number 3 there. And you'll see this right here. And he gets into the 84, and yeah, he gets into the 43. Basically a pinball from there. And the yellow comes out. And we should also take a look at this move that Ken Schrader does. Look at this. Just dives into 3 as hard as he can. Makes it stick. Bodine's got no answer. He comes to the line. He's your leader. But will he lead off of pit road? It looks like yes, he will. There'll be 35-25. And I won't know who's going to be coming on after that because we've got people trying to come into pit road here on the back stretch. Always an interesting blend going on there. Yeah, that is a tough blend where you got people coming in from all sorts of places. We have a couple of people that did not take the opportunity to hit pit road. Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Phil Parsons, Davey Allison, Neil Bonnet, Dick Trickle. All 6 of those drivers did not hit pit road, and thus they will assume the lead positions. So Ricky Rudd will take the lead here. 3 wins this season, and that's got to be considered a comeback, considering he hadn't won since 1985 before the season. He comes back. He has 3 wins this year. That's got to be considered an accomplishment for Ricky Rudd. Shows that he has done well. So meanwhile, ooh, Morgan Shepherd, all sorts of messed up. Must have been a separate accident, probably on the blend. Anyways, pace car lights are off, and we are going to go green. I don't think there's anyone 1 lap down. Indeed, there is not. Oh, the 90 is considered 1 lap down, but I don't think he's coming back on the track, is he? Oh, he is. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get lined back up with the field, however. Remember, 45 mile an hour on pit road. Pit road speed limits were introduced in 1988 because safety reasons. Yeah, there was an accident on pit road at Michigan that unfortunately took the life of a pit crew member. I believe it was one of Ricky Rudd's pit crew members. And yeah, that rule change was implemented in pretty much right on the spot in 1988. Anyways, pace car comes in. Here comes Chad Little on the inside lane. He's the only car 1 lap down. And green flag. Oh, look at the jump by Phil Parsons here. He's trying to get something done. I don't think that was a very smart move by Parsons, so he's going to try to ride that wall, see if he can get any positions by it. I think it's just going to be a disadvantage. Meanwhile, look at this move by Rusty Wallace. He wastes no time. Remember, he was really good at this track. Won both Rockingham races in 1987, not 1987, 1988 rather. And almost won the spring race, but unfortunately got caught in that massive accident where he flipped, just did a crazy pirouette, flip down the back straightaway and up into the turn 3 catch fence. He had minor injuries, but has come back very well from them. really thought that this was going to be a bad omen. A lot of people thought it was going to be a bad omen for him, but it turns out it's turned out quite well for Rusty Wallace, at least better than a lot of people thought. You see Bill Elliott trying to get into the top 10 there. He should be able to do that easily. There's your pole sitter, Brett Bodine. You can see that he's dropped back a little bit, but that's mainly because of the pit strategy that was played, not necessarily because his car isn't the fastest in the field. In fact, if we take a look at the fastest laps, Brett Bodine's not even in the top 10. He's 11th. Fastest car on the track right now apparently is the 35 of Ken Schrader. And meanwhile, whoa, the 25 did not get a good run off of turn 4, and he's going to get passed here by Phil Parsons. Got a runner-up finish last week. 17 top 10s this season, but yet he's not in the top 10 in points. It just shows you that Phil Parsons has really had an up-and-down season. Usually when you think 17 top 10s, you know, you're thinking that's top 10, maybe even top 5 in points. 17 top 10s, but 17 top 10s is not even good enough for 10th in the points this season. Just shows you how competitive some of these drivers have been. It's been a crazy competitive year. Ricky Rudd continues to drop more positions. Meanwhile, Phil Parsons is going to make it 3 wide. This isn't the track that you want to do this at, usually. Got to be very careful about it. Brett Bodine trying to sneak by. Earnhardt's probably going to try to sneak by as well. Yeah, this is not the track to be doing 3 wide at. Very, very difficult. And there, Phil Parsons slid up the track. Here comes Brett Bodine to the bottom. And Ricky Rudd didn't get a good run, and that's going to slow down Phil Parsons. And here comes Earnhardt and the crew. So Phil Parsons is going to start dropping back. Meanwhile, first thing I'd like to say is, what happened to the rear end of the 11 car? It looks like he got hit big time from the rear end already. Something happened to Terry Labonte. I'm not sure what. Second off, look at how much of a gap Rusty Wallace has put on the field already. 2 seconds. 2 seconds worth. Yeah, this is insane. Yeah, this probably all had to do with the blend issues that happened there during the merge. People making contact, people trying to get on pit road, people trying to get off the pit road. Didn't exactly work well. Yeah, Rusty Wallace is pulling away by a rapid amount from everybody, and this is something that we're pretty much used to at Rockingham at this point. Rusty Wallace seems to just have this track figured out, and I'm not sure, 100% sure how he has it figured out, but Wallace just seems to have this track figured out. Yeah, Wallace is doing a fantastic job right now, nonetheless. Meanwhile, look at the cluster for the second position. Davey Allison trying to break away. He can't break away. Bobby Hillen's throwing a wrench into the situation. Here comes Ricky Rudd. He wants the second position. Brett Bodine's trying to shoot the middle. He wants the second position. Dale Earnhardt wants to get into second. Remember, he only has 1 win this season. And that's got to be one of the most shocking things I think I've ever said, is that Dale Earnhardt has 1 win this entire year. Last year, he had 8 victories. 8. 1 more win, and he'll be tied with Tim Flock for the all-time wins in NASCAR history. So 1 more win for Earnhardt. He's tied with Tim Flock. And I believe that's 37 career victories. And here Earnhardt's going to try to get into second. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace is gone. And by gone, I mean he's way out of here. He's in another zip code. 5-second lead. So Rusty Wallace, 5-second lead. He's in another zip code. This is insane. Earnhardt's just trying to break away from this pack. These guys are just slowing him down. Meanwhile, here comes Ken Schrader. We all know that Ken Schrader's got the fastest car on the track. 5.3 seconds is now the gap to Rusty Wallace. Now it looks like Earnhardt and Schrader are trying to pull away. Meanwhile, Schrader's putting a lot of pressure on Earnhardt. He's going to try to cross him over here, going off of turn 4. See if he can get the run going into 1 here. See what he can do. Can't quite make the move. So now it looks like the pack is settling down. Earnhardt to 2nd, Schrader to 3rd, Bodine to 4th, Richmond to 5th. Rudd is now running in 6th. Put Jeff Bodine in 7th. Bill Elliott is trying to break away here. He's trying to get 8th from Phil Parsons. In 9th, that'll be Sterling Marlin, not a driver that we really talk about a lot being in the top 10, at least this year. And it looks like if Harry Gant can get around here, Harry Gant will move into the 10th position. Those drivers are fighting really hard on the outside line, though, and that's the thing, is that this track has a strong outside line and can make it really frustrating to make a pass at times. Really frustrating. By the way, the gap to the leader has now pretty much remained still ever since we went single file. It's pretty much remained at a constant 5.1 seconds. So there's Elliott. He's going to move into the 8th position. That's going to be confirmed. Meanwhile, Elliott maybe not getting a good run off of turn 4. Here comes Sterling Marlin down to the inside. So once again, Elliott not having a good car. Yeah, Elliott continuing to have bad luck. Look at that. They just have not gotten him a good car for the late run down here in the season. We thought that Elliott was coming. We thought that Elliott was going to definitely get here. They just have not performed at all. Shocking. Meanwhile, Ken Schrader, he's gone to 2nd. So Earnhardt's fallen back to 3rd now. Rusty Wallace is still in another zip code, by the way. 5 seconds out in front. So that lead is very slowly, very, very slowly dwindling away. And I'm going to put the emphasis on the word very here, because that is maybe a half a tenth a lap. Maybe. Oh, here comes Brett Bodine down to the inside. Maybe, nope. His run got cut off there by Dale Earnhardt. So that did not exactly work. Tim Richmond trying to get a run on the outside line here. That's not going to help him any. Here comes Ricky Rudd to the bottom. Here comes Jeff Bodine to the bottom. Rudd's still down there, trying to look at how Tim Richmond's just hanging in on the outside lane, though. It's hard to make a pass at this track. Rudd's going to try it in turn 3 again. Bodine slips way up the track. Oh, looked like he hit the apron there or something. Yeah, Bodine slipped way up the track. Tim Richmond did not get a good run, and that's going to leave Bodine and Richmond battling for position here. So even Richmond's not really having a good day. Who is having a good day? Sterling Marlin's trying to get a top 10. He hasn't really had a lot of those this season. It's been a generally frustrating season for Sterling Marlin, unfortunately. That team has not done well with Sterling Marlin at the helm. Of course, he's got that one career win at Talladega. Just one of those one-off Talladega victories. Hasn't had too much success in that 94 machine. He's going to be one of the drivers up for free agency, by the way. So you're probably going to see him at a different ride. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, teammates battling again. Bodine's trying to get that position away from Richmond. He's still trying to get that position away from Richmond. 3 wide. JD, get out of the way. Wow. Well, Bodine got a rocket off of turn 4 there, but everyone else kind of slowed up. JD McDuffie's just trying his best to get out of the way. So I think this is actually going to be a race where neither the top 2 championship contenders have any sort of good car. Neither of them. Yeah, they're both doing terribly this race. Good Lord. You'd expect Richmond and Elliott that, and you know, as soon as I say that Sterling Marlin's having a good run, Sterling Marlin back to 11th. Elliott gets into 10th. No, I'm not going to say anything about Kyle Petty having a good run, but he has 0 top 5s on the season still, which is surprising. But hey, that's an upstart team. It's a new team, and they've done really well. Davey Allison on pit road. Ooh. Meanwhile, Ken Schrader still trying to reel that lead in on Rusty Wallace. 5 seconds. So, it looks like another Rockingham race here is going to turn into who can catch Rusty Wallace. And my guess is going to be nobody. Oh, wow. The fastest lap now is turned by Terry Labonte, but he's a lap down. Oh, boy. That really sucks. So the fastest car on the track is Terry Labonte, but he's a lap down. So you're looking at your leader right now, Rusty Wallace. There's really not much exciting going on here, because he's just in another zip code with everyone else. Than everyone else, I should say. Looking back a little bit further, we see that Jeff Bodine just actually passed Ricky Rudd there, so Bodine's getting some good momentum going. Meanwhile, Tim Richmond, he's trying to hold off a hard-charging Phil Parsons, just like he did last week at North Wilkesboro, where Phil Parsons definitely had the faster car, but Parsons just couldn't close it there at the end of the race. Richmond held on by about a car length and a half. Meanwhile, now it's just pick and choose which line you want. And we've got more cars coming down pit road. This one, now it's going to be Phil Parsons' time. Sterling Marlin now getting around Bill Elliott. So that's going to put Marlin up to 8th, Elliott back to 9th. Gantz now sitting in 10th. And here's a battle for 11th. No, that's not. Ernie Irvin's not up into 11th. Oh, pipe dream. Gerald, we've got more cars coming down pit road now, including the leader, Rusty Wallace. So we're going to try to stick with the leaders here. So Rusty Wallace concedes the lead. That's going to give 5 bonus points to Ken Schrader. There they are. Boom. 5 points. And, well, we're just going to wait for everyone to get out of pit road here. Maybe Ken Schrader, pitting later, will be able to avoid overcrowding on pit road, and maybe this will allow him to get a few positions on the track. We'll see what happens. Remember, Schrader was one of the drivers that opted to pit underneath the yellow flag. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace was one of the drivers that opted to not pit. So obviously their pit stops are going to be not wildly out of sequence. It was only a few laps, but they're definitely not going to pit in the same laps. But you can see there, Ken Schrader just getting blown by Richard Petty. If you want to see the difference between old tires and new tires, it's a 2 to 3 second lap difference. It's astounding what new tires will do for you. Like, here comes, that's a couple of rookies there, Hutch Strickland and Rick Mass. I think Schrader's going to come to pit road here. And indeed he is. So Schrader comes to pit road. The 15 comes to pit road. Now here's the 27. Right away. But hey, look at this. Lap traffic's going to give him a fit. So you got to think, advantage Ken Schrader. I don't think that's going to be advantage Ken Schrader. I think that Rusty Wallace is going to come out in even further away. Wow, Wallace is probably going to unequivocally dominate this race. It's going to be crazy. How far out in front is Wallace going to be? Well, here's Phil Parsons. I'm going to presume he's in second. Is that going to be a correct presumption? It is. And that'll put Rusty Wallace 8 seconds. Well, 7.5 to 8 seconds out in front. Ken Schrader comes out 11 seconds out of the lead. But remember, he's going to have 4 or 5 lap pressure tires. Is that going to make a difference? How much of a difference is that going to make? You know, we're about to find out. By the way, after this sequence of pit stops, Neil Bonnet is just going to get passed by Dale Earnhardt here. So Neil Bonnet's going to come out in 9th. And it looks like Harry Gant's going to take the 10th position. And how about this? Eddie Bierschwil, 23 car. He's up into 11th, driving his absolute heart out right now. How about that? I can't believe that. I don't know if that's pitch strategy or if that's just immaculate driving, but Eddie Bierschwil, the 23 car, 11th. Lake Speed, 12th. Got a lot of drivers up here that aren't used to being in the top 15. So this should be interesting to see what happens. All these drivers had that different pitch strategy. You can see they're getting dealt with pretty quickly here. Sterling Marlin and Bill Elliott pretty much starting to fly by them. So don't expect those positions to hold. Oh no. Oh no. No, those positions are not going to hold. Meanwhile, we can watch the battle for second. After that round of pit stops, 22 drivers are on the lead lap. So that means that Terry Labonte got himself, 20 drivers are on the lead lap. Rather. So Larry Pearson's actually fallen all the way back to 20th. So excuse me for calling Larry Pearson in 10th. Meanwhile, we got a battle for second. Tim Richmond will move into second. We were saying something about Tim Richmond struggling? Oh, delusions, delusions, delusions. It was only a temporary struggle. Here comes Tim Richmond. 3rd fastest on the charts. And only 0.2 of a mile an hour off of Rusty Wallace. So now you can see Phil Parsons go, whoa! Bobby Hillen Jr., watch out! I'm going to have to give Phil Parsons Move of the Year for that one. That was insane. I didn't think that the car was going to fit there. I thought that Phil Parsons was going to absolutely smack off the wall. How was there room for Parsons to fit there? That was incredible driving. How was there room for Parsons to even fit there? Good Lord. You got to give A++ driving there. Looks like Larry Pearson's going to say, going down pit road now. So he's done. Meanwhile, Ken Schrader has decided, hey, it's time for me to start hitting the throttle. So Ken Schrader and his teammate Jeff Bodine, they both have really fast cars too, by the way. Makes you wonder, where's their teammate, Darrell Waltrip? Ninth fastest. Currently located 15th. Oof. Not a good day. Jeff Bodine's just waiting for Ken Schrader to make some sort of mistake there. Whoa! I thought that Schrader was going to get dumped. Wow, inches. I don't even think that there was inches there. I don't think there wasn't even an inch there. I think Jeff Bodine barely spared him. Schrader moves into 4th. Bodine will try to move into 5th. Looks like he will move into 5th. No room that time to do that, Phil. Gonna have to go to the bottom. Oh boy. I still can't get over how good of a move that was. That was insane. Meanwhile, here comes Ken Schrader and Jeff Bodine on fresher tires. Oh boy. Like, hey, we've got fresher tires than you. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody's going to touch Rusty Wallace today. Yeah, he jumped out to a big lead, and he's been gone since pretty much he took the lead, which was after the first caution. I think he took the lead on lap 6, and he has not looked back at all. He took a 5-second lead early on, had a 5-second lead by like lap 15 or 20 or whatever, and that lead has only grown as the race has gone on. So right now, Rusty Wallace is in another zip code. Clearly, there's just no other explanation right now. Meanwhile, with the way things are going, it looks like that Tim Richmond is almost certainly not going to have to attend the last race of the year in order to win the championship. Which, yeah, if you got a record amount of top 5s in a season, yeah. I mean, if the race ends right now, he's going to have 20 on the year. He can get, if he gets a top 5 at Phoenix or Atlanta, that's a record amount of top 5s for the Throwbacks anyways. The record amount of top 5s for one season in history, at least going back to when we had a reasonable amount of races in the season, which started in 1973, is 26 top 5s, and that was done by Cale Yarborough, I believe in 1976. Yeah, 26 out of 30 for top 5s, which is insane. There goes Ken Schrader. He's going to go around Tim Richmond. There he goes. So Schrader to 2nd place. And the Hendrick Brigade here, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Looking very strong. Of course, the other Hendrick car, Darrell Waltrip there, 14th. Not good. Schrader, oh, look out, Richard Petty. I think that was a get out of the way, I have a 27 car to run down. Oh boy. There's no way that he's going to get to the 27 car, but... Whoa, whoa, whoa! Rick Mass not being afraid to use the bumpers there, and I'm going to assume that Ken Schrader is also not afraid, so... Derek Cope really needs to find a way to get out of the way here. If anything, this is just going to allow Jeff Bodine to go to the 3rd position here. And boy, Delco is really slowing everything up here. They're going to try 3 wide again? Oh, this worked so well last time. We'll try it again. Oh, boy. Well, he got around Delco. The only problem is that his teammate, Jeff Bodine, also got around him. By the way, that'll open up the lead to 9 seconds. 9 seconds now, the gap to the 27 car. Wow. 9 seconds, the gap. So that's what happens when lap traffic doesn't treat you well. And sometimes, a lot of times actually, that happens a lot. So, yeah, lap traffic is never going to play your way 100% of the time. Meanwhile, lap traffic not playing your way. Look at Jeff Bodine. He's getting shuffled way out of here as he's about to get passed by Ricky Rudd. And meanwhile, Terry Labonte, who, by the way, has the fastest car on the track, but is in 27th. And yes, his car is the fastest on the track, looking like that. So Terry Labonte's got the fastest car on the track, by the way. But he's 2 laps down. Nothing he can do. Ken Schrader's just trying to reel in Rusty Wallace. And we'll go up here. We'll check up with Rusty Wallace because, yeah, he's not quite in the lead by half the track, but man, he's pretty close. Good Lord. I mean, this has been an unequivocally dominating performance thus far by Rusty Wallace, almost certainly deserving of the 10 bonus points that he's going to get. No doubt about it. That was unbelievable. This has been a great performance by Rusty Wallace. By the way, the lead's back down to 8 seconds. And now Ken Schrader's all of a sudden turned on the afterburners, and he's got it down to 6.5 seconds. Terry Labonte's coming in with all sorts of anger as well. Of course, Terry Labonte's got fresher tires, but that's besides the point. So Ken Schrader, now there goes Terry Labonte around him. That was not for position. And boy, just look at the lap traffic cluster that you have. This is what happens when you go to a 1 mile oval, is that lap traffic really piles up. You got to dodge 41 other cars on this track. You got to fit 42 cars on a 1 mile oval. That is not easy to do. Meanwhile, Jeff Bodine's trying to say hello and trying to get around his teammate here. Meanwhile, we got Dave Marcus on the top. 3 wide, by the way. Good Lord. I think everyone backed off and was like, okay, Tim, you got the position. Oh, more 3 wide. Look at this move by Earnhardt. Man, we've seen some aggressive driving today. I mean, that is some aggressive driving. You said, look at this move by Earnhardt. Wow. You think Earnhardt deserves that 3rd position? Absolutely no doubt about it. I just realized that this is dropping frames like crazy all of a sudden. I'm not sure what's going. I'm not sure what just happened to the live stream there, guys. I'm really sorry, but I just realized it started cutting out really bad. And you're probably about to see the 57 get dumped. Maybe not. I don't know. But I think my internet just hit a temporary lull or something. I'm not sure exactly what happened. But I can't control that. Of course, the internet is going to be weak. It is finals week after all. So that's what happens. Gonna continue on. 7.83 seconds, 7.53 seconds is the gap between Ken Schrader and Rusty Wallace. We really haven't shown a lot of Rusty Wallace on this broadcast because he's so far out in front that it's just pointless. And Schrader's getting to that point as well. I've been watching all these battles we've been seeing. This has been like the battle for 3rd, the battle for 6th, the battle for 8th, and we got some leaders coming down pit road now. Okay, so Rusty Wallace has hit pit road. That is going to roll the lead back over to Ken Schrader. Is this the last pit? No, this isn't even the last pit stop they're going to make. They're still going to have to make another one. What? I think Ken Schrader can make it to the end on one pit stop, but I think Rusty Wallace needs to do too. Oh, that's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. So Ken Schrader is your leader now. We'll see when exactly Ken Schrader decides to hit pit road. Now you can see Richard Petty. He's going to pass the 35 car here. Richard Petty likely has fresher tires, so that's why that's happening. As we said, fresher tires are worth 2 to 3 seconds per lap. That's per lap. So keep that in mind as Ken Schrader continues to go around this track. Basically, what Ken Schrader is trying to do is that he's trying to make it so, okay, he can do this on one more stop. I think that's Ken Schrader's plan. We will see how well that works. Is Schrader planning to do this on one more stop or not? We'll figure it out. Yeah, he's still going out there, 40 laps to go. Here comes Rusty Wallace. So now you definitely know that Schrader's trying to do this on one more stop. So Rusty Wallace, he's going to unlap himself there. 2 to 3 seconds a lap. 2 to 3 seconds a lap. Just keep repeating that mantra in your head. 2 to 3 seconds a lap. That's how much he's going to drop. Now here he comes. He's going to come down pit road now. Earnhardt's going to follow him. Will 40 laps be enough to do this on one stop? Here's Tim Richmond, by the way. So now we have to ask ourselves, is 40 laps going to be enough to do this on one stop? It's going to be close. It's going to be really, really close. Well, that was a good observation. I don't think the 27 will be able to do this on one more stop. I think the 27 is going to have to pit one more time. Plus, I think, wow. It might be some flawed pit strategy out of the 27's camp that is going to cost them. Meanwhile, by the way, Rusty Wallace is going to pull out to probably a 15-second lead here. Let's see what the actual number is. Yeah, 14 seconds. 15 on Schrader. So, but that's not going to matter. No. Because Schrader's going to make a lot of that up. Because he's going to have 5-lap fresher tires. The only thing is that he's stuck on the top lane right now. Because lap cars are just not playing his game whatsoever. You're going to see him slow down a little bit here. He's going to let Rudd get by him. So, 8 drivers are on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace is in another zip code. He's in the lead. But we're unsure if he can... We are pretty sure that Rusty Wallace will not be able to make it on one more stop. We're going to try to find Rusty Wallace. Here he is. He is entering turn 3. Okay, so we're going to show this. Rusty Wallace, he's crossing the start and finish line now. Tim Richmond, second place, just getting on the back straightaway. So we've got to consider that Rusty Wallace has over a 1/2 of a lap lead on everyone here. So call that whatever you want. Yeah, Wallace showed basically it's like, oh, I'm going to get injured at this track. Well, I'm just going to pull the overcard and just pull out one of the most dominating cars in Throwbacks history. And yeah, there's no doubt about that. The largest gap that anyone has ever won a race by is a total lap, one full lap, and that happened in 1984. It was actually the finale, not the finale race back then, but the second to final race of the year. Ron Bouchard won the Atlanta Journal 500 in 1984 by a full lap, thanks to a very timely yellow flag that ended up falling with 10 laps to go, I think. And he was the only driver that was scored on the lead lap at the time. So that is the largest gap that has ever happened in Throwbacks history. Of course, this is not going to happen, but 15 seconds is going to certainly be one of the largest gaps, if not, well, it's going to be one of the largest gaps if this lead holds. It's more of a question of, will Rusty Wallace be able to make it all the way to the end? Whoa! Contact! Ricky Rudd and Ken Schrader. Yeah. By the way, Bill Elliott has really scratched and clawed his way back into this race. He's up into 7th. I don't know how he's done that, but he's up into 7th. So Elliott's really fought and scratched and clawed his way up. So now the question's going to be, who's going to... Now Rusty Wallace has unequivocally the fastest car on the track. So now the question's simply going to be, will the 27 be able to hold out? For the fact of the matter, will the 25 be able to hold out? Because remember, Bill Elliott's on the same strategy as Schrader. Yeah, Schrader. So if the 27 can't hold out, neither can the 25. So keep that in mind. By the way, the lead gap now is down to 13 seconds, and I think that's probably because of lap traffic hell. Yeah, he just got out of this entire group here. So that is due to lap traffic hell. Cannot fault the 27 car for that. Let's see, now that he's out of lap traffic hell, yeah, that lead is going right back up. So, you thought you had a glimmer of hope? No. No hope. No hope for you. The question's good now. So here we go. What we're watching here is the battle for the second position. The 55, Phil Parsons, he is in second. This will be his 18th top 10 of the year if this holds. And yet he still won't be in the top 10 in points afterwards. And then we have Tim Richmond in third. This will be his 20th top 5 of the season. If this were to hold, he would tie the record for most amount of top 5s in Throwbacks history, going back to 1984. And by the way, the stream's messing up again. Sorry if the stream is messing up yet again. And the internet's kind of cutting in and out with waves. And I apologize for that. But this is not due to computer limitations on my end. This is due to an internet connection issue that is unfortunately unresolvable. Which kind of sucks because the internet has been doing quite well actually the past few days. And I thought, yeah, it's going to do well today, and it unfortunately not. Now here comes lap traffic hell for second on back. How are they going to deal with this? Once we get inside 10 laps to go, we're going to go to the 27 machine. Because it's going to be all about, will he pit? Yep. It's a tough one. Richmond slides up. There goes Schrader. Schrader's in third. Not yet. Ken Schrader to third. He's going to want second here really shortly as well. And that'll put us to 20 laps to go if we get there. See what Schrader's trying to do here. Can Schrader get around the 55? Not quite yet. Oh, Parsons up the track, but so did Schrader. Here he comes down to the inside. I don't think Parsons is going to be able to block this move. So Ken Schrader to second. 14 seconds to the leader, Rusty Wallace. So when we say that the race is somebody and then everyone else, we literally mean that today. It is Rusty Wallace and everyone else today. Good Lord. Meanwhile, we look back here. Bill Elliott is trying to get himself some brownie points here by getting around Dale Earnhardt, if he can do so. I don't know if he's going to try to force it. He got him. He got him up the track. Great move by Bill Elliott. That would be worth a position. Elliott might be able to salvage a top 5 today. I mean, that would be really impressive considering that he was really struggling early on in this race. So he can salvage a top 5 today. Hey, he's doing really well. The gap 13.5 seconds to Rusty Wallace. Rusty Wallace is your leader. Elliott's still trying to pull away from Dale Earnhardt back here, going back. Elliott's still trying to pull away from Dale Earnhardt. Yeah, Elliott, rather. Again, here he goes. He might be able to get Ricky Rudd here. If he can get Ricky Rudd and salvage a top 5 out of today, that's got to be considered a great accomplishment for this team because, man, they've put together some awful runs these past few races. Getting back into the top 5 at least will restore some confidence in this team. Phil Parsons to pit road. Oh, boy. So, this may have been a good call, folks. We're now going to watch the leader, Rusty Wallace. So Phil Parsons unable to make it all the way. Now the question is going to be, can Ken Schrader make it all the way? 13 seconds the gap. Oh boy. We know for a fact Wallace will not be able to make it. Richmond will not be able to make it. Can Schrader make it? Here he comes. Wallace is going to come down pit road right now. It's a long way back to Schrader. Here he is. So Ken Schrader, he's going to pick up the lead here. He's not going to pick up the lead yet. Here he goes. Ken Schrader's going to pick up the lead. He's going to have to last 11 laps. Is he even going to put the 27 car lap down? I don't even think he's going to put the 27 lap down. I don't think he's going to be able to do this either way. We'll find out. 11 laps. That's the gap. Elliott has gone to second place. Dale Earnhardt third. Brett Bodine fourth. Harry Gant fifth. Sterling Marlin sixth. Alan Kowicki seventh. Rusty Wallace in eighth. 18.5 seconds is the gap. 10 laps to go. The drama is fierce. Oh boy. Can Ken Schrader last it all the way? Can anyone else last it all the way? Is 40 laps going to be too much to ask? Well, we're going to find out now. The laps are ticking away very, very slowly, I imagine, for Ken Schrader. He's like, come on, I just want this race to be over. Oh, boy. Oh, how many laps do we have to go now? 7? 8. 8 laps to go. Boy, I lost track of my own lap counter. 8 laps to go. Oh, man. 7 to go. Here we go. Man, this is going to be good. I don't think Wallace is going to be able to catch him. He's in lap traffic hell right now, taking a look at how slowly the gap is coming down. Wallace is not going to be able to catch Schrader. So basically, Schrader's got to focus in on one thing and one thing only here, and that's making it all the way to the end. Otherwise, this was for nothing. 6 to go. These are some of the longest laps of Ken Schrader's career. If he pulls this out, this would be one of the best pit strategy moves I've seen in a while. Now this was, remember, this was all thought out and planned on lap 3. So keep that in mind. 5 to go. The gap between him and Elliott is 4.2 seconds. Schrader's got no worries about losing the lead to Elliott. The only worry that he has is either running out of gas or blowing a tire. 4 laps. Oh boy. Wallace is not going to be able to catch him. He's 16 seconds out. I don't care how slow Ken Schrader goes. Wallace is not going to be able to catch him unless Schrader completely runs out of fuel. Three to go. Here comes Phil Parsons to unlap himself. It's not going to be enough. It looks like it's going to be a perfect strategy for Ken Schrader. What a well-timed move. That is how to do it. 2 laps to go. Coming to the line. Can Schrader hold out? Oh boy. There goes Larry Pearson down on the inside. That doesn't matter. Phil Parsons might try to come down to the inside. That isn't going to matter either. None of that matters. Schrader's going to come and take the white flag. Will his car hold?
He's got a 4-second lead over everyone else. All that car needs to do is just crawl across the line. And he is really, really, really low, man. Rusty Wallace comes and absolutely dominates. It will be for absolutely nothing. Ken Schrader is going to win the AC Delco 500 on a brilliant pit strategy. That had to be one of the best moves that I have seen in a long, long time. Excellent move there by Ken Schrader and that crew to take home a well-deserved victory today. That was just incredible. Ken Schrader was able to take down the juggernaut. Rusty Wallace, he was so far out in front, but unfortunately pit strategy did not fall Rusty Wallace's way. And now, after that, because Tim Richmond fell so far back, Elliott's once again within one race of Tim Richmond, and Richmond will leave that race without a top 5 or a top 10. Oh my good lord. 130 points is now the gap between Richmond and Elliott, but that is still pretty much insurmountable with 2 races to go. Tim Richmond's, he's basically got this. He can go into the next race with a good opportunity to clinch. Earnhardt now has 20 top 10s on the season, which, wow. And Ken Schrader comes away with his 3rd win of the year, which, good job for him. And this points battle continues to be absolutely insane. Well, that was a crazy, crazy race at Rockingham. Our next race is going to be at Phoenix for the 2nd ever race here, the AutoWorks 500K. We'll see you then.